The studio lights were blinding, the audience buzzing with anticipation. Bill Maher leaned back in his chair, a smug smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Cameras swiveled and zoomed, capturing every twitch, every flicker of emotion. Across from him sat John Kennedy, not the president, but a young, ambitious senator with ideals that had propelled him quickly into the national spotlight. He knew the stakes. He also knew the risks. But nothing prepared him for what would come next. "You're clueless," Maher said, his words cutting through the hum of the studio like a scalpel. The room fell silent. Not the polite, expectant silence of a live audience waiting for a punchline, but a heavy, judgmental silence that pressed down on Kennedy's chest. He felt the gaze of millions through the lens of the camera, a living reminder that reputation is as fragile as glass. Every senator had faced tough questions, every politician had endured criticism, but this was different. This wasn't a debate, it wasn't policy scrutiny, this was public humiliation on live television, and the word clueless echoed in his mind, repeating with a rhythm that made his heart pound. But Kennedy was no stranger to pressure. He had grown up in the shadow of expectations, his family name carried weight, yes, but it had also carried scrutiny, criticism, and doubt. From the earliest days, he had learned to listen, to observe, and to respond with more than just words. He had learned to act with integrity, even when the world doubted him. And now, facing the brashness of a TV personality who thrived on provocation, he felt that same inner resolve ignite. Maher leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "I mean it, Kennedy. You talk about reform, about hope, about progress, but do you really understand the world you want to lead? Because right now, it looks like you don't." The audience murmured, some laughing, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Kennedy felt the weight of those eyes, but instead of flinching, he inhaled deeply, grounding himself in a memory from his childhood. His father, stern but wise, had once told him, "Never let someone else define the measure of your knowledge. Learn, understand, then respond." And so Kennedy spoke, not with defensiveness, not with anger, but with honesty. "I may not have all the answers," he said, his voice calm but firm, "but I know enough to understand that progress isn't about knowing everything, it's about asking the right questions, listening to the right voices, and having the courage to act when others hesitate. You call me clueless, but I call it humility. Humility to admit that no single person, no single perspective, can solve every problem. That's not ignorance. That's awareness. That's responsibility." The pause that followed felt like eternity. Maher blinked, slightly off balance now. The audience, sensing the shift, leaned forward. Kennedy continued, his tone growing warmer, more human. "And if I've